Back now to our celebration of hope and the kickoff to this year's Ride for Roswell. Lighting the torch tonight is Annie Cohoon, and for her, being asked to do that is bittersweet. As Two on Your Side's Kelly Dudzik tells us, Annie was not only diagnosed with cancer during the pandemic, she also beat it.
It's just a huge, huge honor for me.
This year's Ride for Roswell torchlighter, Annie Cohoon, found out she had breast cancer in April of 2020.
I had a normal mammogram in February. I had shoulder surgery the next day. I was in a sling for about 6 weeks. Once I got out of that sling and started moving around, I noticed a lump in my armpit, actually. And then I found the one in my breast.
She went in for another mammogram, an ultrasound, and a biopsy, and that's when she was diagnosed.
Found out that it was, it's called invasive ductal carcinoma, and when pathology came back, it's triple negative. So most of the breast cancers are hormone related, and mine is not, or was not, because I don't have it anymore.
Annie's treatment was a bit more aggressive than with other breast cancers. She started chemotherapy in May of 2020, spending a lot of time at Roswell in the middle of the pandemic, going through 16 rounds of chemo over 20 weeks.
Last year was pretty much a blur for me. Like, I feel like we kind of just skipped from 2019 to 2021.
Annie had surgery in October and 6 weeks of radiation treatments 5 days a week, then oral chemo. And now she's healthy enough, and Annie's family decided to do the Ride for Roswell together this year.
We just knew it was something that we wanted to do. I mean, Roswell saved my life, and we just wanted to be able to give back.
But being the torchlighter was a surprise. Someone from Roswell emailed Annie after her family signed up for the ride, asking if she wanted to do a blog interview about being a first-time rider. Then they asked her if she'd like to play a special role at the Celebration of Hope.
There's a lot of emotions that go into it because not everybody that's going to be there has somebody that survived. So that part of it is really hard. I have guilt about some of that. I met a friend through chemo, and unfortunately I went to her funeral in June. So there's a lot of mixed emotions that go into being diagnosed, going through treatment, going into a stage of, recovery, being considered a survivor when there's others that didn't have that.
Annie is doing well and had her last appointment with her oncologist this week until November. In Buffalo, Kelly Dudzik, Channel 2 News.
Annie's story, just one of thousands, and in just a few moments, the Peloton ride will begin. Joining me on the desk now, as well as Scott Levin, as we get ready for this big moment.
Yeah, it is going to be a police-escorted ride, 12-mile bicycle procession. Riders will salute the patients in the windows at Roswell, and we can listen in. I believe Mitch Flynn is right there at the podium. All right, it appears that Mitch is done, and they're going to light the torch right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the flame is officially lit.
And you think of all of these people, Scott, with all of their individual stories, all of the people that they're riding for.
There are so many stories, and there is so much hope that comes out of that building with all the employees and the volunteers. It is just incredible. Let's listen into Mitch right now.
You know somebody who's been in one of those beds up there probably, right? Or you've been in them yourself. There are a lot of survivors here. So let's do this now. Let's let the people up on the upper floors know we're thinking about them. Raise those cards up high. Let's have about 10 or 15 seconds of silence for them, okay? Okay, everybody, let's roll. Be safe out there. We'll see you out at UB.
So there you go. Several hundred of the Peloton riders are about to take off for that 12 miles up to UB. These are some of the highest people who have raised a whole lot of money for Roswell Park for them to do the great research that they do.
And what a special time this is for them too, Scott, because they didn't have this opportunity to do this way, like they've done it for so many years last year. So this is really a coming together in a very special way this year.
It really is. They'll have a police escort there on their way to UB. They're going to have to hydrate a lot because, as we know, it is a beautiful evening out there tonight for these several hundred riders, and our Adam Bonini is out there along with all these other folks that have really given a lot of their time. Some of them have raised close to $1 million. We're talking tens of millions of dollars over the years since Mitch Flynn and some other volunteers began the Ride for Roswell. We're lucky that we have Roswell here. It is an incredible research center, and they need our dollars, and they keep those dollars here locally. All of us know someone who has had cancer or been touched with cancer. My wife has gone there. We have been there. Every one of us knows someone, and they just do incredible work there. And the research is being done on a daily basis, and they are making some great strides right now with many, many different cancers, whether it be lung cancer, even pancreatic cancer. They're making advances, and the pancreatic cancer has touched both your life, Kate,
Yeah,
and
both
my
of our
life.
fathers.
Both of our fathers passed from it, right.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that, you know, research is so key there, because that's one of the cancers where there really isn't anything that can give you kind of that early sign of what's going on. So the work that they're doing there can really save lives.
Yeah, pancreatic cancer can use as much research as we can give it, and the dollars provide. It's one of those very, very difficult cancers, but they are making some headway. And thank goodness for all of these folks that are getting on their bikes right now. I'll tell you, I wish I could do 12 miles. I can barely drive 12 miles, Kate. So I give a lot of these folks, the men and women, young and old, a lot of them are survivors, some of them just wanting to give their time and their money.
Yeah, it just means so much to them and so much to this entire community. I mean, you're looking really at Western New York's fight against cancer. It's such a visual representation of that and how much this means to so many people, people who are still fighting, people who are survivors, you know, people who have lost family and friends.
Yeah, and it's pretty emotional when you think about it, because this is the city of good neighbors, and these folks are raising money for you and me, possibly your neighbor, your husband, your wife, your son, your daughter, and they're doing it selflessly, and they do it every single year. And tomorrow, thousands of people will dress up in those beautiful Roswell shirts, and they're going to be riding the roadways of Western New York to help possibly save you or someone you love.
Yeah, Lise mentioned this earlier, but there are going to be more than 6,000 riders throughout the community. So if you are out driving around on the roads tomorrow, just please keep an eye out and be careful.
That's right, and thank God for every single one of them. Hopes and prayers that everybody is safe and they have a great ride, and we want to thank every single one of them for all their time and all their efforts. And we thank Channel 2 and the management here as well for giving us the time to be able to support the Ride for Roswell as we do every single year.
Yeah, we can't forget the volunteers too. There's about 2,000 plus volunteers who are helping to bring this whole thing together. I mean, you know how it is when trying to get a couple of your friends together to do something. So you imagine trying to rally 6,000 people together, but they do it, and they do it beautifully.
They sure do. All right, Kate, we'll let you go and enjoy your weekend, and we will be back with Channel 2 News at 6 right now.